Remember the story of Jack and the Beanstalk? Jack sets out to take the family cow to market. But on the way, an old man offers him something he says will take him high into the sky. A handful of magic beans. Jack returns home with the beans and his mother angrily throws them out the window.
These are worthless!
Of course, that's just a fairy tale. Today it isn't beans that are used to trick people into risky adventures, it's other mystical items, which brings us to today's story. Jack and the frequent flyer points. Once upon a time, there were two big Australian frequent flyer programs.
Qantas Frequent Flyer.
And
Virgin Australia Velocity Flyer Card.
for most people, frequent flyer programs worked like a loyalty card at a cafe. You earned points when you took a flight, and eventually you got one for free. But then the world changed. Points weren't just earned by catching planes. They were also earned by buying things, frequently things that had nothing at all to do with flying. All over the land, people searched for ways to beat the system. A Melbourne peasant earned 380,000 points by making 7,000 one-cent credit card transactions. In a far-off land called America, a man bought 12,000 serves of chocolate pudding to earn 1.25 million points. Jack wondered,
how can a bank, a pudding manufacturer, and a coffee shop give out loyalty points for an airline?
first, the airline creates the points.
Helen, more points.
Done.
Then, the airline sells its points to other businesses. These businesses use the points to entice people to buy from them. Customers then trade the points back to the airline for goods or flights. And so the frequent flyer programs lived happily ever after by selling points to retailers for more than the price that customers traded them back at. In 2013, Qantas sold $1.2 billion of points. It's now the most profitable part of the company. It was the goose that laid golden eggs. But when Jack decided to find out,
How much is one frequent flyer point actually worth?
he found the secret was protected by an angry giant. But what Jack did discover is that the value of a point depends on what you buy.
Samsonite suitcase. 1 point, worth almost 1 cent. Sydney to Melbourne. 1 point, worth almost 2 cents. Coleman kitchen sink. 1 point, worth only ½ cent.
Jack learned that a point is only worth about 1 cent, and suddenly the spell was lifted. 1 or 2 points per dollar represents a saving of just 1 or 2%. Even a small credit card fee could erase most of the benefit. Jack realised that letting frequent flyer points influence your spending decisions is rarely wise. Jack also learnt that even if you use points when they're most valuable for things like flights, they're often unavailable. Even for upgrades, you can be pushed aside by someone with higher status.
Wait, got anything in your pockets?
Jack discovered that on a basic frequent flyer credit card with a $95 annual fee and a point per dollar spent, he'd have to spend $9,500 just to earn enough points to cover the annual fee. And with the ANZ Visa frequent flyer card, he'd have to spend $19,000 and then another $16,000 to get a one-way flight from Sydney to Melbourne on points. Not to mention the fact that frequent flyer cards have higher interest rates. So if Jack missed a payment on that $35,000, his free flight would turn out to be very expensive. But Simple Jack thought,
What if I put everything on my card and make sure I pay it off at the end of the month in full? Then I might come out on top.
Until suddenly Jack realised he didn't have the spending power or financial discipline to make it work in his favour.
Yeah, but if I was really, really careful...
Yet again, poor Jack underestimated how difficult it is to come out in front. Especially for good-hearted, ordinary folk like him. Or you.
What do I look like? The kind of guy who'd sell a cow for
Jack went home and showed his mother the special cards that he said would take him on a magical adventure. She was furious and told Jack there's no such thing as a free flight. If you like a carrier and travel with them regularly, it doesn't hurt to earn points on flights you already take. But if you had frequent flyer points with one airline and another ticket was 1 to 2% cheaper, it'd probably be worth buying the non-points ticket.
What are all those trains about?
So she threw the cards out as well. When Jack woke up the next morning and looked outside, an amazing thing had happened. His mother was still pissed off. She said, "Don't change your behaviour just to get extra points."
Unless you're a highly disciplined person with a sophisticated understanding of how the system works.
Or you won't live happily ever after. Wasn't that a great story?
What happened to Jack's cow?
It was repossessed.